Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to day two of this amazing and special conscious parenting workshop where we are handling the theme why your child behaves this way and how you can fix it. All right. So, most of the times, as parents, we often see some reactions in our children. They behave in a way, and at times we are surprised, we are shocked, we are like, where did you get this from? All right. The truth is that there is a reason why they behave that way. Okay. And now we, the parents, we need to be equipped with the right skills to handle it. Okay. Because if we don't handle it rightly, we are just going to fail at instilling the right value that we want to instill in them. All right. So today is day two, and without any waste of time, we are going to invite our next speaker for tonight. Thank you so much for joining in, Mommy Ebele. We are so happy to have you. So if you are live with us right now, just type good evening so that we can know that you're around. Thank you so much, Modestine. Good evening to you. Yeah, so today is another special edition, and we are so glad to have you. So without waste of time, let me just bring in the first speaker of tonight. Good evening, Nelson. Can you get me? I think now you are muted. All right. So we equally have our speakers around. Nelson, can you get me, please? You're muted.
That's right. Good evening.
Okay, okay.
Yes, I think I'm good. I'm good to go now.
All right. So good evening to you. We are so happy to have you. And today, Nelson will be handling the topic why your child is stubborn and how you as a parent can fix it. Over to you, Nelson.
Mommy Ma, thank you very much. Thank you very much for all you're doing. Good evening, everybody, from wherever you're listening. I it's a privilege being here tonight. Uh Network disappointed me yesterday, even to follow the other speakers, but then I think I tried to follow one during the day. Thank you very much, very much. I greatly appreciate the opportunity. It's indeed an opportunity on the ride. And without much we do, let's dive to business. Why your child is stubborn and how you can fix it. How can you handle that son, that daughter of yours who is stubborn? I want to read a scripture in the Bible, Proverbs 22, verse 6, which I want to believe that is a scripture that we all should know. And the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should grow, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Train up a child in the way he should grow, and when he is old, he will not depart from what you taught him or her. Now, the first thing we are observing here is the point training. Train up a child. For you to train, you must have the knowledge. For you to train, you must have what it takes to train somebody. So we should understand that parenting is a journey on its own. Parenting is a full time job on its own that requires a lot of training. It requires a lot of knowledge in order for you as a parent to be able to train your children effectively the way God wants, not actually the way you want, but the way God wants you to train the child. Okay, train up a child in the way he should grow, training the child in God's ways and not training the child your own way, but train the child based on what God wants you to do towards that child. Now, I want to believe so much that we have encountered stubborn children, or you as a parent listening to me, maybe your child is stubborn, or maybe you are a teacher in a school Maybe there are children you are teaching and they are very stubborn. The first thing here is that every child is unique. Every child is unique. Every child is unique. And there are things that will cause children to be stubborn. There are things that will make children to be stubborn. And until you identify what makes somebody stubborn, you don't know how to fix it. So a problem that is not identified remains a problem. So it's until you identify a problem that you can be able to solve that problem. So I'm here tonight to help us all to understand why your child is stubborn and how you can fix it. I will tell you about my story, and at the end of the day I will just give you few points as far as this topic is concerned. Growing up as a young boy, I was known for my stubbornness. In one of my books, the very first book I wrote, titled I Must Make My Parents Proud, one of the chapters I said if there were to give an award to the most stubborn child in the world, I could have been one among the first three. My stubbornness was very, very, very terrible, I must say. It was very terrible. But then there is always a way out. There are times and there are seasons for everything. Growing up from primary school, it was very, very tough. I remember back then in 2007 when I finished primary school, and because of my stubbornness, I was not able to continue studies because of my stubbornness. And at the age of 12 or 11, 12, I found myself selling in a bar, and I was selling from 7 p.m. to 12 midnight. And you might be asking yourself the question, why was I selling at that time? This was actually the arrangements that I had my parents without anybody's knowledge. And this was out of stubbornness. Now, the first point I to draw from here before I continue the story is the fact that one of the reasons why children are stubborn is as a result of their environment. The environment can cause a child to be stubborn. I will tell you why I am saying this. So, growing up at the age of 12, 13, at some point, my parents decided to let me do what I wanted to do. So, I was on my own because they were tired already of the whole stuff. My mother was good at beating. She was good at beating. My dad did not know how to beat. But then my mother, I say, she was a professional when it comes to beating. And at some point, she got tired. At some point, she could not again because it was not helping. Remember at the beginning, I said every child is unique. There are children that beating won't work for them. There are children that beating will work for them. In my case, beating to solve my problem of stubbornness, it did not work. It did not work. But then there is something that was done which helped me, which I will tell you. At that stage, my parents gave up on me. I could do whatever I wanted to do. I could come back anytime I wanted to come back at home. I remember this fateful night. My father had decided to separate me from the main house, and he gave me a room outside the main house. And I stayed out this particular night, and I came back at about 12 midnight. And I discovered that my dad had changed the lock of that door. So I had no way to enter my room. and I could not go to my parents or to the main house to seek permission from my parents or my siblings that they should help me open the main door. It could have been rough that night, so I had no choice. And where I slept that night, it will be shocking to you that I slept with good, because that was the only option I had that night. And the stubbornness continued. It continued to the point, thank God for 2010. Remember, I spoke about environment, which can cause children to be stubborn. Environment. My stubbornness or my environment contributed to my stubbornness very much. The people around me contributed to my stubbornness. In as much as beating was not helping me, in as much as my parents could invite other persons to come and beat me, in as much as they could take me to the Carrefour to beat me, in as much as they could take me, lock the door before beating me, I did not change. Nothing happened. As a result of beating, my stubbornness was increasing. So every child is unique. To some children, beating will work for them, but to some, beating will not work for them. So the first thing is to identify what is the problem. What is causing this child to be stubborn? What are the factors that are making this child to be stubborn? So understand the root cause, the root of the stubbornness. So, like I earlier mentioned, stubbornness can be caused by a variety of so many things. And one of them is the environment. The environment. I remember in 2010, I was picked from the village and brought to Yaoundé, the capital of Cameroon. I was brought to Yaoundé, and that is where my change started. That is where I started experiencing change. That is where my stubbornness started leaving me in 2012. Precisely when I succeeded to give my life to Christ in 2012. But then I will never stop being thankful to this particular man, who today is my brother-in-law, who took me out of that environment and brought me to Yaoundé, because everybody in the village had given up on me, to the point where parents could openly tell my parents, I don't want to see my child with your child. I don't want to see you, Nelson, around other children. It was openly declared, because I was influencing other children badly. I was influencing other children negatively. So my environment was a big problem. Remember, I was selling in a bar. This was because the owner of the bar, we made arrangements. So you see, at the age of 12, 11, 12, this man, if he was good enough or wise enough, maybe he could have gotten to my parents to find out, why should this child be selling from 7 p.m. to 12 midnight? So my environment contributed very much to my stubbornness. So, one of the things that might cause your child to be stubborn is the environment, the people around him. Show me your friend, and I will tell you who you are. Proper positioning is never based on random choices. Proper positioning is never based on random choices. Living out what you are called to live, or becoming who God designed you to become, requires that you be at the right place at the right time with the right people and doing the right thing. Be at the right place at the right time with the right people and doing the right thing. This will help the child. It helped me, because I left where I was, and I found myself in a different environment, and this environment helped me to develop a lot of things in me that I did not know, that I knew nothing about. Absolutely nothing. When we read the book of Psalms, chapter number 127, verse 3, Bible says, children are a gift from the Lord. They are a real blessing. Children are a gift from the Lord. They are real blessings. One of the reasons why children are stubborn, parents are contributing to it as well. Parents are contributing to to some of their children's stubbornness. How often do you, as a parent, discuss things with your child? How often do you ask your child questions? How often do you give your child a listening ear? You know, we have grown up with a mindset that children have nothing to offer, and parents are never available to listen because to them, children, they will have nothing to say. Nothing to say. That's the mindset that most of us we have grown up with, or parents have grown up with. But then we must get to the point where we listen to our children. We must get to the point where we give them our attention. Because sometimes children want to express their feelings, but we are not available to listen. You know, quality time and quantity time, these are two different things. Spend quality time with your children. Somebody had once said that the greatest inheritance you can give your child, you can give your children, is few minutes of your time every day. Is few minutes of your time daily. So it's not about the amount of time that you spend with the child, but it's about the quality of the time that you spend with the child, listening to that child, trying to understand what he or she is going through. And by so doing, you will know how you can help. You will know how you can help. We must be able to set disciplines and be consistent in our discipline. Children sometimes are stubborn because we put in place that if you do this, this will be the punishment. And this child happens to do that thing, and you don't, or you punish the first time, or you discipline the child the first time, and he or she does it again, and then you ignore it, you don't discipline again. All right, this child will have the mindset that if I did it and my mom did not caution me and my dad did not say anything, then I am free to do it continuously. I am free to do it continuously. So let's be able to set boundaries and consequences to their actions. It's important to implement disciplines over the children. Help them find their passion. Help them find what they love to do. So, in as much as our children are striving to make us proud, us as parents, we also have a responsibility to make them proud. We have a responsibility to also make our children proud. And I can tell you boldly that one of the ways to make them proud is listening to them. One of the ways to make them proud is giving them your attention. They feel loved, they feel valued, they feel important that my dad, my mom could give me time. You know, we're in Africa where sometimes parents or children whose father especially is having a car, once the father is coming back and the children hear just the horn of the car, you discover that every child is directly going to the room because the atmosphere won't be conducive for them, because the father is not coming with a friendly environment for the children, and it makes the children to be scared of the parents instead of being their friend. So, within your relationship with your child, if you really want that child to be obedient the way you want, one of the things you can do as a parent is making sure that you give your child attention as much as you can. Attention, a listening ear. I remember some weeks ago a young girl got to me. She's about 18, 19 years old. She got to me and she was telling me that I went to my father to explain she had a challenge. There is a young boy that was following her, that wanted to go out with her. And this young girl wanted to share with the father, but then from her explanation to me, the father did not give her a listening ear. And she was coming to me to seek for advice. What can I do in such a situation? I'm bringing this up to make us understand that sometimes our children go wayward because we haven't given them a listening ear. All right, let's just imagine that in a long run, this child happened to get pregnant, for instance. I want to believe that the father somehow should be blamed, because this child wanted to express herself, but now the parent did not open up. The parent was not available to give this child a listening ear. I don't know why I feel deep to emphasize on this issue of attention. Giving attention to your child is very important. My stubbornness to an extent was because I did not have that parent-child relationship with my parents. I did not have the opportunity to express myself. I did not have the opportunity to tell them what I wanted to do because they were never available to listen. They were never available to listen. Now, let's fast forward it. My stubbornness did not end immediately I came to Yaoundé, or immediately I left the environment where the stubbornness was being amplified. But while in Yaoundé, the stubbornness continued again. I remember in Yaoundé for about 2 years, 2010, 11, and 12, or even 3 years, the stubbornness was very intense again. I remember back then in the village, I belonged to this a group in the church known as Boys Brigade. So, in all of this, my stubbornness, I was a very committed boy in the church. It sounds funny. I was very committed in church. I was very consistent in church. And to the point that I was a thief and I was stealing from church. Yes, I can vividly remember. I was stealing right from the church, inside the church. But despite the fact that I was going to church, nothing changed. So I'm bringing this to make us understand that in as much as we, the parents, in as much as you have teachers in school, in as much as you have teachers in church, in as much as you have teachers who are educating your children in every sector of life, you must understand that you are the first teacher to your children. You are the first teacher to your children, and they learn from you through what you do, not actually just what you say, but what you do, they learn from it big time. So don't channel all your energy or the education of your children to the teachers. But as well, parents, please, I know you are busy. I know you are busy looking for money to sponsor these children to school. I know you are busy trying to give them a brighter future. But one of the things you will do to make them better in life is by giving them your time. It's by giving them your attention. No matter how little it is, give them your time. Pray with them. Pray for them. Teach them how to pray on their own. Few minutes ago, I quoted Psalms 127, verse 3. Children are a blessing, children are a gift from the Lord. And from my understanding, there are things that comes with a gift. When somebody offers you a gift, there are a few things that happens. One of the things that happens to you immediately you are offered a gift is that you smile. You smile. When you are offered a gift, there is joy. All right, there is joy and there is hope. There is hope when somebody offers you a gift. There is peace when somebody offers you a gift. So what happened some years ago is that stubborn child of yours, heaven brought that child to you some time ago as a gift. So the first thing first is that you should be able to treat that child as a gift. How do you treat a gift? When somebody offers you a physical gift, how do you treat it? It's the same way you ought to treat your children. No matter how stubborn the child is, treat him, treat her well. Treat her well, treat him well. Don't channel all your energy on the negative things that the child is doing. This is one of the ways to fix the stubborn child. Don't channel all your energy on the negative things. In as much as somebody is stubborn, in as much as somebody seems to be wayward, I want to believe that there is always something in that person that is positive. So instead of channeling all your energy on the negatives, why not identify one positive and always praise that child for? So one of the things that will boost the child self-confidence, one of the things that will boost the child and help the child to regain his consciousness and to regain his real self is the fact that identify something positive about that child and appreciate him for it. Appreciate him for it. Appreciate him for what he is striving to do that is positive. Don't just always channel your energy on the negatives. It will not help at all. It will not help. It will not help. It will not help. I'm telling you, it will not help. Don't always be negative. Look well in that child. You will see something positive that will help that child, or that will help you to fix the stubbornness. Back then, at some point, when my parents had tried all possible means, beating, every possible means, inviting people to beat, it did not work. It did not work. I can picture back then how my mother would sit somewhere and she's actually crying. I can picture it very, very well. And she's crying, and I knew very well that this crying was because of me. I knew it. It was because of me. So my parents, at some point, they were regretting even why they gave birth to me. But then, like I earlier mentioned, there are times and seasons for everything. There are times and seasons for everything. I can picture back then my mother praying. I can picture back then my mother trying to call me to pray with me. But then, because of my stubbornness, I was never available, but she never gave up. We bless God for the gift of mothers. We bless God for the gift of mothers. Now, one of the greatest things that over time, even discussing with my mother, that I know very well that contributed more than 50% to fixing my stubbornness was her prayers. Her prayers. Her prayers. Now, the stubbornness in your child, don't expect it to disappear just now. Don't expect your child to become a good child just automatically. No. There are times you will teach your child. There are times you will discipline your child. There are times you will do everything possible to make sure that this child come back to his right senses, and things will seem as though they are getting out of hand. It will be getting worse and worse and worse. But get me well, what you should do, please don't give up. What you should do is continue to do what you are doing. The impact that we create in the lives of children, sometimes it comes to a realization after months, after years. Yes, mine came after years, because back in 2007, 8, 9, my mother praying for me, and the manifestation came in 2012 when I was given a second chance encountering Jesus. So prayers contributed a whole lot to my stubbornness. Positive declarations. Sometimes we call our children names that manifest in them. Bible says there is power in your tongue. Bible says speak a thing and it shall come to pass. So be it negative, be it positive, speak it and it shall come to pass. So there are negative words that sometimes out of anger we pronounce over our children that later on they manifest themselves. Yes, later on they are manifesting, and we begin to wonder, why is this child behaving like this? Where is this behavior coming from? We are not like this in our family. Where did I go wrong? And this is because of the negative words that we use on our children. Just imagine a child dresses up in the morning going to school, and then you call the child dull child. And later on, this child comes back home with bad results. Are you aware that you contributed to it? Yes, you did contributed to the failure of that child because you spoke words over his or her life. So be mindful of the words you speak over the child's life. So positive declarations over my life brought about big change. Brought about big change. My first book I wrote, I Must Make My Parents Proud. I wrote this book simply because I wanted to correct the mistakes that I did in the past. And I'm proud to say that so far so good, a lot has happened. So far so good, the change is evident. So far so good, my change has affected many other people. So don't give up on your child because he or she is stubborn. Please don't give up. Pray as much as you can. Declare over that child's life. Keep declaring God is hearing. God is hearing. And I can assure you that things will fall in pleasant places sooner or later. Don't give up on that child because he or she is stubborn. But instead, call that child to yourself. Talk to that child as a mother. Talk to that child as a father. Talk to that child, and I am sure that God will intervene. So, summarily, one of the causes of stubbornness in the lives of children is the environment. Secondly, lack of attention from parents. We are never available. We are too busy for our children. Please create time. Make out time for your children. Make out time for your child. Make out time for your child. Pray with him. Pray for him. Teach him how to pray in your absence. Do it, and testify. Do it and testify. Dear mothers, don't give up. Don't give up the place of prayer, the place of declaration. Thou shalt declare a thing and it shall come to pass. My child is not stubborn. My child is a gift. My child is a blessing. My child, you are bringing me smiles. You are bringing me blessings. Speak over the child's life. Stubbornness is not a gift. Stubbornness is not. It can be fixed. It can be fixed, and we can fix it. If we have tried several methods and it's not working, I can assure you that in my case, prayer solved my problem. Positive declaration solved my problem. It can solve that child's problem as well. Give up. Don't give up. To end, I want to make this clear that until you start implementing some principles, things will not just work automatically. Things will not just work automatically. There is a part you have to play. At the beginning, I said, we read the scripture, train up a child in the way he should grow. When he's old, he will not depart from it. So you have the responsibility to train. So parents, play your part. Let God has part. So play your part and encourage your children to play their own part to bringing you peace, to bringing you smiles, to bringing you all the good things that a gift can bring. It's possible. It's possible. People who know me can best testify that if I am a changed person today and I'm even an inspiration to others, then there is nothing God cannot do. The story of the prodigal son in Luke chapter 15, verse 12 to 17, verse 17 amazes me very much. And Bible says, when he came back to his senses, when the prodigal son came back to his senses, he returned back to his parents. When he came back to his parents, when he came back to his senses, sorry, he returned to his parents. Sooner or later, that child of yours will come back to his or her senses, and he or she will bring you joy. He or she will bring you peace. He or she will bring you hope. You will look at this child and you will know that the future is bright. You will look at this boy, this girl again, and you will say, God is faithful indeed. As my parents can confidently and boldly say today that God is good and he is good forever. So as we are rounding up with this parenting program today, I want to encourage you, dear listeners, dear participants, to understand that great meetings don't change people, but great decisions do. So all you need to do is to take a decision after this and start implementing what you've learned as far as this meeting is concerned, in order trusting that God will use this meeting to bring about change in your child's life. God will use this meeting to fix your child. God will use this meeting to bring a turnaround, People are still amazed and surprised when they see me today, but the hand of God has been so mighty. I will beg to end here, hoping that we should be able to put into practice a few things we have gotten, and I'm very confident that through this meeting, the lessons we received yesterday, the ones we are receiving now, and as we end the conference, your family in general will regain hope again. Your family will gain peace of mind again. I can picture back then the whole of my family as a whole was very disturbed. But today I have become an inspiration to many people's inspirations. And I'm confident that that child of yours as well, please don't give up. Don't give up on prayers. Don't give up on encouraging the child. All right. If you have tried beating and it's not working, please stop it and identify another method. And one of those methods is speaking to the child's life, praying for the child. Why not take the child out? Just take him out to a quiet place and make him understand that, in as much as you're stubborn, I, as your mother, I, as your father, I still love you and I want the best for you. I want just the best for you. Mommy Ma, thank you very much for having me. And to every other person who is listening, thank you very much for having me tonight. And we will meet again. Thank you very much.
Oh my God, the pleasure is ours. Thank you so much, Nelson, for all the strategies and tips help their children in when they are stubborn. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to have you, Nelson. We hope to have you again next time. So, all those who are watching us, please, if you have any questions, feel free to type it down below. And now, if you actually enjoyed this session, please comment. Thank you so much, Nelson. Thank you so much, Nelson, so they can feel your energy and know that, okay, you're around and that you have learned from all what he has taught just now. All right. Okay, so we await your questions and your comments. Okay, so without further ado, we are going to bring in the second speaker for tonight. She is an amazing mom. I mean, you guys are not ready for this. You guys are not ready for this. Please send in your favorite emoji. Let me know if you're ready for this, okay? So we're going to invite the amazing Coach Sandra. I don't want to even pronounce the other name because I'm scared that I might not pronounce it correctly. But she is amazing and she's going to be handling the team why your child is disrespectful and how to fix it. All right. Hello, Coach. Hello, Coach Sandra.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can get you.
Okay. I'm logged on two devices, so just give me a minute to exit one of them. Okay. So I believe you can hear me loud and clear now. Can you hear me loud and clear? Hello. Can you hear me?
And loud and clear. Yes.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you at my end.
All right. All right. Okay. Please let us know in the chat. For those that are connecting on YouTube, please let us know if you hear me loud and clear as well. Thank you so much, Ma, for this amazing work that you're doing. I mean, I follow you on LinkedIn and I see how you are able to, do everything you do, how you're able to carry parents along with your stories, and it's just so relatable and really impressive. So well done. I celebrate you, and to everyone that is connected tonight, wherever you're streaming from, I want to say thank you for taking time out to be with us. It shows that you are a conscious parent. It shows that you are intentional, because we are very quick as a people to complain and say, oh, this is happening to young people. We don't understand what's going on with the Gen Zs. We don't understand what's going on with the alphas, the alpha generation, right? But how many people, how many parents are actually committed to putting in work? How many parents are actually ready to say, you know what, I'm going to give it all it takes to contribute my own quota to ensure that I raise wholesome children. And so, while some of us are here, some other people have, better things to do. Yeah, we live in a fast-paced world. But what I'm trying to say is gatherings like this are gatherings that should be prioritized, because at the end of the day, it is what we take in that we're able to deliver. It is what we know. It is what we put into our children that we're able to get back out of them. And that's why I love the scripture that says, train up a child in the way he should. When he's old, he will not depart from it. That every child should go. It's necessarily not the way you want the child to go, but there is a destiny that God has earmarked for every child. There's an assignment that God has mapped out for every child. So there is a way for each child to go. That you have three children does not mean that you know how three of them, it doesn't mean that all three of them are going to go in the same direction. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So we need to commit ourselves to constant learning. We need to commit ourselves to prioritizing meetings like this so that we're able to get new perspectives, fresh insights, cutting edge tools that would help our children to be better. So thank you so much for putting this together, Ma. So today or tonight, I'm speaking from Lagos, Nigeria. I've been asked to talk about why. Okay, thank you. You can hear me. Thank you. Why your child has anger. Yeah, why your child has anger, or why your child is always getting angry, or something like that. If I'm going to put it in a different perspective, why does my child get angry? Why does your child get angry? Now, I want us to understand that anger is something that is often misunderstood, right? We see anger as a bad thing. We see anger as a bad behavior. But one thing we forget to note is that anger is an emotion, and we all have these emotions, whether we think they're good or bad. But it is our duty as parents to help our children release these emotions in civil ways. It's our duty to help them release this emotion in ways that are socially acceptable, if you understand what I mean. I know that societal values are shifting, but I believe you understand what I'm talking about. It is our duty to guide our children, to help them, be more emotionally intelligent so that even when they begin to experience these feelings of anger, they are not acting irrationally, they are not acting negatively or hurting themselves because of this emotion that is in everyone, right? Now, I want us to understand that it is not a bad behavior. It is how it is expressed that is the issue here. If it is expressed well, so you're getting angry and you already have been taught coping skills, the child knows what to do when he's angry, that child is going to vent anger in a way that is socially acceptable, in quotes. That child is going to release that anger without hurting the people around him and without feeling like a terrible person. But there's also a way that we can train a child such that once that child is angry, he throws massive tantrums. He breaks everything that is in sight. He slams doors, talks rudely to people. All of these outcomes are based on the kind of programming the child has received. So the fingers are pointing back at us most of the time. How are we programming our children to deal with anger? How are we programming them to handle these huge emotions? Even adults, sometimes you still find people react in certain ways, and you're like, why is this person acting like a baby? You are wondering, why? Is it because this person is angry that is raining fire and brimstone? Do you get? So even adults today, some adults are not even able to manage anger properly. Not to talk about children, children whose brains are not fully developed. Not to talk about children who are still navigating the emotional landscape. Not to talk about children who are still trying to make sense of this world, this random world that we're in. So it is important that we also parent with grace. It is important that we parent with grace. We're not just coming to fight with the children, say, oh, why are you getting angry and all of that. How have we programmed them to deal or manage anger when they are in that situation? Because most times as parents, we are quick to, we are quick to assume, the child got angry or somebody grabbed his toy or something. He should know what to do now. He should know better. How will he know better? Even as adults, those of us that are parents, how many times were we taught certain things? How many times, or some of us have gone through therapy, some of us have evolved, some of us have worked on ourselves. So why do we think that overnight children should know what to do? And because they are getting angry, we begin to label them. Oh, this angry child, this child is too rude. this child is too hot tempered, this child is too this and that. But we forget that all of these things are a process. Children are in the process of their making. And so, as parents, we must position ourselves to stand in that place where we are not just nurturing our children, but we are coaching them, we're mentoring them, we're standing on the sidelines and saying, oh, don't go that way, come this way, preparing them to navigate the world themselves. So that is just like a foundation. So why does your child have anger? Why does your child have anger? Now, one of the things that I love to tell parents is no behavior is just showing up. Behavior is communication. Behavior is communication. Whatever behavior you find your child manifesting is that child telling you something. So, as a parent, you need to be able to hear what your child is saying and what your child is not saying. Because your child, especially if the communication lines in your home are not open, your child may likely not tell you everything, especially if you're always shushing them. You're always telling them, oh, you're busy and all of that. They already know they are not your priority, so they may not tell you everything. But as a parent who is conscious, you should prepare yourself and equip yourself to be able to hear what your child is telling you and what your child is not even telling you. Because their behavior is sending you a signal. Their behavior is telling you that there's a root cause that needs to be addressed. So when children get angry, it's either one of these things. There are many more, but I have just outlined a few. Unmet needs. Is the child hungry? Is the child not comfortable? Is the child having emotional needs or emotional triggers that have not been met? Now, we are quick to judge children, but if we walk backwards, we realize that sometimes we've not met some of their needs. Now, as adults, when some people are hungry, they can't control themselves. When some people are hungry, when some people are frustrated, they don't hear anything until they've descended on you, until they've scattered everywhere. That's when they begin to calm down. That's even for some adults, right? Now, I want you to think about children. What if the child is hungry? What if the child has been craving your attention? What if the child, because if children don't, if they're not able to get your attention when they're doing the right thing, they will do the wrong thing to get your attention. At some point, children don't even care. They don't even care how they get your attention, whether positively or negatively. So the choice is yours as a parent. So when children have tried to get your attention over and over again, but you seem too busy, they come with their million and one questions, and it seems like, oh, you don't have time for them. These are unmet needs, and these are the things that can make children get angry. I interface with lots of children on a daily basis, and this is one of the things that show up over and over again, not meeting their emotional needs. And so it's quick for us to say, oh, this child has anger issues. But are we pointing the fingers back to say, let me check my checklist and see if I am in any way enabling this child to have this kind of attitude? Because we are quick to say, this is who I want my child to become. But how many times do we ask ourselves, who do I need to become to help my child to get to this destination? If I don't want my child to have anger issues, what areas of my life do I need to work on as a parent? What are the disempowering habits I need to drop? You want your child to be able to regulate their emotions, but when things happen to you as a parent, you also scatter everywhere. You shout everybody down. You speak to people in ways that are not nice. And then you're expecting that you want to raise a child who's able to speak in a polite way. It's not possible. So this is something that we really need to take note of. When children's needs are not met, they can just get into that position where they begin to get angry. And then developmental stage. Sometimes children may struggle to communicate their needs. For example, you see, I'm going to use people that stammer, people that stutter. as an example, you see that as they're stuttering, they're trying so hard to pass that information across. They're trying so hard to tell you what they want to tell you, but the words are not coming as much as they want the words to come. Or you find little children, they're trying to tell you they're hungry, and so they're dragging your clothes, they're hitting you. They want to tell you that their diaper is wet. They want to tell you they're not comfortable, but nobody is understanding what they're saying. And so they may begin to overreact, and then you conclude that, oh, they are angry. For some children, they get angry because they have learned to get angry. Like I said earlier, they have learned this behavior. Just like bullying is a learned behavior, anger can also be learned, right? So when children are in a position or in an environment where they are being negatively programmed, they can take up anger as a habit, right? They can begin to react irrationally. They can begin to get easily irritated because that is what regularly happens in their close-knitted environment, which is their family or their classroom or something like that. And then there are also other issues that may be responsible for excessive anger in children. We have anxiety issues, children who are depressed. I've seen 6-year-olds who are depressed already. We have children who are afraid, children who are sad, children who have gone through traumatic experiences. All of these things can actually program them to become angry people, even at that age. Now, what does the brain have to do with all of this? I want us to understand that the part of the brain, especially for children who are lesser than 25, the part of the brain that is responsible for rational thinking is not even fully developed. And that's why I parents to not allow their children draw them into a power struggle. Because your child's brain is not fully developed. The part of their brain that are fully active is the emotional part of the brain, where all they think about is their emotions, right? They react from a place of the emotions, and the lower part of the brain that is responsible for their needs. That's the part of the brain that triggers them when they're hungry, when their diaper is wet, when they are not comfortable, and they begin to cry. Oh, my diaper needs to be changed, or I'm hungry, I need to eat. That are fully functional. The part that makes them logically not fully formed. And so we really need to cut them some slack with the knowing that these children are still growing. Their brains are still developing. Now, by saying this, I'm not excusing negative behavior. I am not excusing misbehavior. But what I'm trying to emphasize here is that as parents, we need to stand in that place of being nurturers and being coaches and mentors. We need to stand in the place where we're able to guide our children, where we're able to shape them such that even when they don't have that part of their brain fully formed, which is the prefrontal cortex, even though it's not fully formed, we're still guiding them to say, you know what, you can regulate your emotions like this. You can do this instead of acting this way. You can do that. Do you understand? This is so important. And then we all right? A situation where children, once they get in a situation or in a position, they either respond or react. So they either want to resist whatever that thing is, or they want to run off, right? And this can be responsible for anger in some children. So when they react or when they express this angry emotion, we need to be in that place where we understand that our children are not trying to attack us. No child was sent here to frustrate any parent. No child has made his life's mission to be that I'm going to frustrate my parent and all of that. No, if they're acting in a particular way, it is because there is a root cause that is triggering that behavior. So I want your perspective to change. Are you seeing the cup half full or you're seeing the cup half empty? If you decide to see the cup if you decide to see the cup half full, when your children behave, you will be seeing them as people who are respectful. How dare this child speak to me that way? Does she even know I'm her mom? How dare she talk back at me? Can you imagine that? But let me tell you something. If you put yourself in a situation where you see your child like that, you have lost the chance to help that child. But when you decide to see the cup as full, sorry, when you decide to see the cup as half full instead of half empty, you are putting yourself in the position where you're saying, still has a problem understanding how to talk politely. So instead of seeing a child who is rude, you change your perspective and you begin to see a child who needs help. Instead of you to see a child who is always angry, you are flipping the switch and you are deciding to see a child who needs to learn more about controlling his emotions. That is something I want to understand as we go on session. Now, what do you need to do? What can you do when you realize that your child is always flaring up, having fits of anger and all of that? Too many anger. Want to put some calming strategies into place, right? The first thing you want to do is to work on yourself. You need to stay calm. You cannot help your child if you have not helped yourself. If you are not able to regulate your emotions, there's no way you're teaching your child, or there's no way you can help your child regulate their emotions. When your child is angry, it's not the same time to begin to say, how dare you? How dare you get angry? Your child is shouting. You too, you're shouting. Oh my goodness. What will happen in that situation? You are just getting into a power struggle with your child. And no teachable moment can come from that episode. Because no true win occurs when you and your child are not on the same team. No true win occurs when you and your child are not on the same team. So this is not a case of show you, I'm your mom, I'm your dad. How dare you? How dare you talk to me like that? No way. We are not in a competition. You are a parent. This is your child. Your goal is to have a wholesome child, not to be in a competition with your child. You want to win. You want to win the argument. So after winning the argument, what next? What has the child learned? What have you taught the child? Because the child is going to go out there, probably to school or anywhere else, and will react the exact same way as you react to him at home. This is so important. So you need to stay calm. No matter how aggravated the situation is or how furious the child is, please stay calm. If you escalate, the child will escalate too. You need to learn to respond. You need to learn to pause so that you can get yourself together and know how to approach the situation in a more what's it called, in a more in a way that you are able to get the results that you truly want. The second thing you want to do after staying calm is to acknowledge the child's feelings. Now, every child needs to have their feelings validated, especially their parents. I'm not saying you should raise your child to depend on external validation, but let me tell us something. It's okay to validate your child's feelings because emotion invalidation is also something that impacts children negatively, right? Once you're always waving off your child's feelings, you always say, why are you crying? Are you a baby? You're not a boy. Why are you crying like a girl? And all of that. Once you begin to do that, or your child broke her pencil, and you're like, is it because of that small pencil you are crying? Don't worry, I'll get you another one. No, no, no. You have to validate that child's emotion. Let him know that you see him. Oh, baby, I'm so sorry. You broke your pencil. Oh, that must really hurt. Okay, don't worry. I have more pencils, okay? I'll give you another one. What have you just done? You have just put yourself in your child's shoes. You have just made your child understand that, oh, daddy understands what I just went through. Daddy really, feels what I feel. So, yeah, I'm going to listen to him. And, what you have just done is to empower the child. So, even when you are not there, the child already knows what to do. This is opposite a scenario that says, Why are you crying? Because of that small pencil. Please, Joe, the child is not going to come back to you next time and tell you, oh, that this is my problem. And then parents wake up one morning and they're like, oh, my child doesn't tell me anything. Da 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 da. Okay, the child was programmed that way. We need to acknowledge their feelings. Once you see that they're in that angry state, then, oh, I know that your friend grabbed your toy and that made you feel really bad. It's okay. I can relate. I understand. Simple. That's what I'm talking about. Acknowledge their feelings. And then you want to encourage them to breathe, use their breath. Now, breathing, or let me say our breath, is one of it's, in fact, it's our most precious gift in life. We are all breathing now, right? And this is something that can regulate us, not just as parents, but individuals generally. We need to use our breath. You can actually use your breath to regulate yourself. You can use it to regulate your emotions. Once you see that your emotions are getting all over the place, you will flare up at any moment from now. You need to breathe. By the time you do that 7 to 10 times, you realize that you than you were a few seconds before. And you also want to teach your child how to do this. You want to teach your child how to breathe deeply as well to help them regulate their emotions. Let me go quickly now. My time is up, I believe. And then safe space. See, harshness will not give you the results you want. Stay in your pedestal as a parent to see that way. Oh, I'm too busy. Like, I don't have to pay your school fees. I provide a good home for you and all of that. What else do you want from me? All of those things will not cut it. You have to intentionally create a safe space for your child if you really want to help them manage. If you want to help them, comfortably, tell about their feelings, comfortably vent in safe ways, you need to create a safe environment. You need to be your child's safe place. When your child does something out there, maybe they make it, the first thing they should be thinking of is, how can I call my mom? How can I call my dad? Not, how can I run away from home? Or how can I go and talk to that my friend? And can you trust the integrity of that friend? So your best bet will be to create a safe space in your home so that your children, even when they have strong emotions, angry feelings, they're able to tell you, Mom, I feel really angry now. I feel really angry now. And that's one of the steps to emotional intelligence, being able to vocalize. This is so important. Another thing you want to do is to ensure that you teach them the right ways to communicate their feelings. Let them, I was children cannot even label their emotions. They only know happy and sad. They don't know frustrated, they don't know disappointed, they don't know excited and all of that. We need to teach our children every single emotion. We need to teach them the vocabulary for each emotion. They need to know how to verbalize how they feel. This is so important so that they can tell you. You can use phrases like, so tell me, how are you feeling like right now? And say, Mom, I feel really frustrated. I studied hard for that exam. How come? How come I didn't do so well? I feel frustrated. When they tell you they feel frustrated, you know what to say. You know the right words to use. Rather than just saying, I feel sad. Oh, I feel sad. I feel everything is sad, sad, sad. They need to know the right words to use. And then you want to teach them to set boundaries, right? You want to teach them to set boundaries. And you also want to be consistent with those boundaries. You want to let them know that no matter how angry you are, we don't cross this line. We don't slam the door in the school. We don't hit anybody. No matter how angry you are, it's not acceptable to speak to your sibling in that way or to speak to your mom or your dad in that way. Boundaries need to be created, they need to be set, and they need to be consistently followed. This is so important. And then you want to teach them coping skills, teach them problem solving skills. Don't just jump in to help them sort out issues all the time. They will not be tied to your apron strings forever. And you will get weary if you decide to be your child's PA for life. If you want to be their personal assistant for life, you will get tired. So you want them to be problem solvers, critical thinkers that can think their way and problem solve out of terrible or tough situations. This is so important. And then you also want to address underlying issues. Like I said earlier, behavior is communication. If your child is beginning to get angry and angry and angry, if you need to see a professional, please do. It's one of the things I do. You need to see a therapist, please do. Because no behavior just comes out of the blues. There is something that is triggering it. And the best thing you want to do is to find out, instead of doing surface area treatment, you want to find out what it is so that you don't lose your child. What I mean by lose your child is so that you don't create a gap between you and your child, or so that there's no dent in the parent-child bond. This is so important. And finally, you also want to model proper anger management. You can, parenting is leadership. You cannot, you as a parent, you are not walking the talk and you are inviting your children to walk the talk. That's unfair. If you are not able to manage your anger as a parent, it will be unfair for you to now expect that, oh, my children should be perfect with managing their anger, their emotions, and all of that. Yes, children can also learn these things from school, from other, classes, extracurricular classes they take. But the truth is, charity begins at home. It will be great if you are the first person teaching your child how to manage their emotions by managing your own anger properly. This is so important. And children look up to their parents as role models, right? And role play is one of the best ways to teach a child. So can you imagine that you are such a great role model? Can you imagine that you are actually, teaching your child through your actions how to manage their anger? You come back from work, you're like, oh, I had such a hectic day. Like I was really tired at work, and my boss really gave me a hard time. It was just, my goodness. He was just complaining about everything I did. But you know what I did? When it was getting so, when I was getting so aggravated, and it was like I was going to explode, I just went into the restroom and I just had a deep breathing session. I took my time to breathe in and I exhaled, and I just, asked the Holy Spirit to help me just control myself. And, I went back into the office and I felt fine. I was okay. Imagine you telling your children stories like that. When they get to class, when they get out there, and situations like this happen, they would remember, oh, this is what my dad does when he has a bad day at work. This is what my dad does. This is how my mom handles these kinds of situations. Oh, okay. Breathe, Sandra, breathe. Don't go throwing things at the wall. Just breathe. This is what my mom does. Can you imagine? So don't get worried that your children are not listening to what you're saying. Be more worried. That's it. Be more worried that they're watching you. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to wrap it up here. I'm going to wrap it up here. I really believe that. Thank you so much. I don't know if there are questions, but thank you. Thank you for having me, Ma. But one thing that I want us to take home from here is whatever you do with your children on a daily basis is programming. Don't say, oh, that was a mistake. No way. You are either programming your children positively or negatively. And every seed has the potential to become a fruit. Every seed has the potential to germinate. Every seed has the potential to become a forest. So what are you sowing? All of those interactions you are having with your children, what seeds are those? Would you be happy with the harvest? In 3 years, in 4 years, would you be proud of what you have produced? Please always keep your parenting goals before you. Stay reminded of what you want to achieve in the life of that child. And stay reminded that that child has an assignment that is bigger than that goal that you even have. Manufacturer of that child puts something in that child that will cause him to shine as light in his world. The Bible says creation awaits the manifestation of the sons of God. So creation awaits the manifestation of the assignment upon your child. You either stifle that assignment, let the child bloom. There's a question I love to ask parents. Finally, let me say this. I say, the story of Mary and Jesus, right? Jesus, the angel had told Mary about the kind of son she was going to have. But if you and I were Mary, would Jesus have fulfilled destiny? Yeah, I know that Jesus is prophecy fulfilled. Jesus coming, his birth, everything is prophecy fulfilled. But now, okay, let me not even use Jesus. Let me use, so maybe anyone that has really innovated something really great and all of that. If you and I were parents to those people, would they have fulfilled destiny? Some of us have children who are so vivacious, they are talking boisterous, they're very assertive, and we're busy shouting, "You talk too much, you are too rude, your mouth, prom, 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 prom." And by the time you finish shouting at that child from age 1 to 5, you would have successfully killed assignment of being a global speaker in that child. And by the time the child is now getting to the teenage, to the child, by the time the child is becoming a teenager, you're not like, you're not even assertive. See the way they are treating you. Talk now. Can't you fight for yourself? How will he fight for himself when you have stifled him all over the or all through the years? So I want us to understand that however to our children daily is programming. Let us understand that seeds are being sown. Will you be happy with the harvest you get? That is what I'm going to leave us with tonight. Thank you so much for listening.
And oh my God, oh my God. Thank you so much, Mommy Sandra, for this special. And it was so powerful, so valuable, and I almost feel my book. We learned a lot, and I believe that every parent that is watching us right now has noted down the strategies that he or she needs to apply when their children begin to show those disrespectful behavior and so much anger. Thank you so much, Mommy. It's been a pleasure to have you. We're so grateful.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, everyone, for listening. It's bye for now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Vera. So we have come to the end of our workshop today. Oh my God. Oh my God. It was just so amazing. And if you are watching us right now and you have learned a lot, please type in the comment section that it was valuable, it was amazing. I learned this, I learned that. Okay. It's really going to be helpful. And if you have questions as well, you can comment them beneath this video. Okay. And it will be answered in our community. All right. Oh my God. So I've come to the end and I don't want to end. It's been amazing. And I hope that this workshop is going to help a lot of parents because what actually matters is the fact that we are doing this to create impact in the lives of parents, okay? To help you, to equip you with the tools, with the strategies that you can use, all right, to make the difference as a parent, okay? To make your child fulfill destiny, like our coaches were saying. They shared their story, they shared their insight. I mean, they shared their experience. It was so amazing. And yeah, and I hope that, okay, this is going to transform your parenting. This is going to help you on your daily journey with your kids. And that you're going to testify after this. And your kids will be so proud of you, okay? So we have come to the end. Bye bye. And please share this link to somebody that you feel that, okay, it's going to be helpful to the parents, okay? So parents are really struggling. All right. This is it. Remember that parenting is a field, okay, that must be learned. All right. Parenting is not a guesswork. Okay. To raise kids, we need to be skilled. Okay. We need to learn. All right. Like every other field, we need to take parenting like a school, an education that we need to learn in order to do the best and be the best for our kids. So goodbye to everyone. Goodbye, Mommy Ebele. Goodbye, Modestine. Goodbye. Adara. Goodbye, Emilia. Goodbye. It's been a pleasure to have you all in this session and see you in our next session. Love you. Bye bye. I am Mai Konde, parenting coach, your humble host. Bye.